One-foot-flipper.
Hi, Paige here, the 1 Foot Flipper, and today we're going to look at the 20 supposedly most expensive non-sports cards according to eBay. And I say supposedly because most of these expensive cards sell on offers, and you have to individually use a third-party tool to see what the card actually sold for. So I just kind of went with the 20 highest sales and then ranked them by what they really sold for. So there's going to be cards that we missed in here that sold for more money, but there's nothing we can do about it. And since videos like this tend to attract some new users, I'm called the 1 Foot Flipper because I only have one leg. It chopped one of my legs off in 2019. It died for a few minutes, came back to life, started selling on eBay, and never looked back. All right, there's going to be a few kind of cards that we're going to toss out here. We're not going to look at graded cards. People who own expensive graded cards, they know what they have. You're not going to find valuable graded cards in the quarter box at your local card store. You're not going to see them at a garage sale. We're not going to look at Pokemon cards. Pokemon cards are CCG cards. They are not non-sports cards, even though thousands of them are miscategorized in that category. And you're also not very likely to get an ungraded Pokemon card into the price ranges of this video in the first place. There's only a few that can make it in there ungraded, so don't worry about it. Pokemon cards can go in a separate video. I'm not going to look at sketchy sales that I don't trust in the first place. So in my research, I found an Iron Man card that had serial numbers to 62. This one was like in the middle somewhere, like 27 of 62, and it had supposedly sold for $20,000. The seller was a zero feedback seller. I just don't trust that transaction was ever completed. There were too many of that card produced for the value given, and the seller had no eBay history. This was somebody making an over-top attempt to overvalue their card for a later sale. Or somebody making an offer and not paying for something with a gullible seller. Who knows? But I don't believe that sale happened. I'm not going to include sales that include more than one card. Too much math there. And I'm not going to include sales that say they're for a specific person, because you never know what is actually being sold in those sales or included in those sales. All right, let's go into it. Number 20, 2025 Topps Chrome Goofy large scale. That means it's a big card. Probably was a box topper. It was listed at $10,000, but it sold for $500. Huge drop from the asking price. Now, this is actually very normal, since almost every card is special now. It can be very difficult to price anything. You know, if every card of value is like 1 of 3, 1 of 5, a lot of times another example of the card will never come up for sale. So people will put insane prices on cards and wait for offers. This would have never come up on the list if eBay actually had a way for me to search by actual sold price instead of sorting it by the asking price, but that's all they got, so that's all we got. Number 19, Topps Chrome Marvel Frank Miller original sketch card. 1 of 1 Iron Man. Autographed. Although the autograph is kind of just Frank Miller's initials. And there are many different ones of these 1 of 1 cards, so it's not truly a 1 of 1. Frank Miller could just literally sit down and spend 60 seconds crapping out a headshot on a card, and it sells for thousands of dollars. Something can be 1 of 1 and still not really be 1 of 1. This was the most expensive example of this card, which sold for $2,500 when the original asking price was $10,000. Others went much cheaper. Number 18, Galactus Superfractor 2025 Topps Marvel. Kind of an ugly card. They were asking $13,000 for it, but they accepted a $3,000 offer. Bit of a drop there. Number 17, 2025 Marvel Comic Book Heroes 1975. That means they're showing 1975 images on 2025 cards. Superfractor Silver Surfer. They're asking $12,500. They sold it for $4,000. You notice the pattern of there being a lot of Marvel cards on this list? This is going to continue. Doesn't mean that Marvel cards are the most valuable cards every single year, but this year it seems like it. 2025 Topps Disney Chrome Baseball Goofy 1 of 1 Super Refractor Tampa Bay Rays. Was listed at $15,000, sold for $4,500. Now, Goofy is not the most valuable Disney character on cards in general. He just seems to be more desirable on the baseball-themed crossover cards than the other characters. Probably because he's just bigger and taller and he looks more athletic than a lot of the other characters, even though he's also Goofy. And those cards seem to make it onto this list. Mickey actually shows up the most often on valuable Disney cards, and after that it goes really wide. The only real surprise about valuable Disney cards is that Winnie the Pooh shows up on a lot of valuable cards, and I wasn't even fully aware that Winnie the Pooh was a Disney character. I thought he was his own thing or belonged to the estate of the author, J.J. Milne, or whatever his name is. All right, let's move right along. 2025 Topps Chrome SpongeBob SquarePants Fun Songs 1 of 1. It's had a $15,000 asking price on it. They accepted a $5,000 offer. Now you've got to wonder, what goes on in the mind of the high-end SpongeBob collector? What are they thinking about? What sort of life do they lead? Do they live in a pineapple under the sea? Is everything in their house SpongeBob? Or are the SpongeBob collectibles only of the highest qualities and displayed in a museum-type setting? I don't know. If any of you know, please post down in the comments. All right, number 14. Topps Marvel San Diego Comic-Con Doctor Doom 1 of 1 comic cut. This had a $15,000 asking price. Sold for $6,000. However, there were many different of these 1 of 1 cards produced. Probably 100 or more, given that 20 of them have sold on eBay in the last 3 months, and they've sold for as cheap as $810. So 1 of 1 is not really always 1 of 1. Next up, Topps Chrome 2025 Frank Miller Original Sketch Card Spider-Man autograph. And once again, Frank Miller tries real hard. His autograph is his initials. Spider-Man and this card had a $15,000 asking price, sold for $6,000. Spider-Man is more popular than Doctor Doom, thus Frank can crap out much larger amounts of money in 60 seconds. I wonder what Topps pays him to do these. Wouldn't it be cheaper to just take your $6,000, take a week off work, go to Comic-Con, wait in the line, pay the money to see Frank Miller and meet him and make you a sketch? You'd probably still have enough money once you got home to buy a 1988 Ford Escort. Seemed like that would be a better memory than this. All right, next up. Topps Chrome Marvel Scarlet Witch Topps Patrimony. The Topps Patrimony is a thing. You're going to show up multiple times here. This is a superfractor, which means foil or something similar to that. This is, of course, a 1 of 1. Original asking price, $15,000. Sold for $6,500. Do you think it's the same person buying all of these Marvel cards? Just wonder. Who is it? Number 11. Jean Grey Patrimony. Case hit, Superfractor, 1 of 1. I barely see anything Superfractor on the card. $12,500 asking price. Also sold for $6,500. Have you noticed that every single card on this list has been a 2025 card? Kind of a coincidence, isn't it? Next up, number 10. V-Friends Topps Chrome Sketch to Screen Fearless Fairy Superfractor, 1 of 1. $12,555 asking price. Sold for $7,500. Now, I don't pretend to be able to predict the future, but I have been around the sun 48 times and some change. And if you absolutely want to lose a whole lot of money long term, then you go invest in some high-end V-Friends cards. They're based on a media personality that most people are not aware exists. And all of his previous attempts at NFTs and such, every one of them crashed and burned. The value of these cards is 100% speculation by crypto bros, and no one cares about the characters or their little history, or nobody's going to remember Gary Vee in the future. This stuff is all going to go to zero. And if I'm wrong, you can dig me up and throw a piss jug on my grave. Next up, 2025 Topps Chrome Marvel Silver Surfer Patrimony again. Superfractor, although you can barely tell, doesn't seem to be superfracting very much. $12.5 asking price. Sold for $8,000. Nope, $7,500. Sorry, sometimes I can't read my own numbers. Next up, 2025 Topps Chrome, number 150 Galacticus Superfractor, 1 of 1. Kind of see the Superfract in action happening right there. That's the one that sold for $8,000 on a $15,000 asking price. Number 7, 2025 Topps Chrome Marvel Rocket Raccoon, 1 of 1 Superfractor, $15,000 asking price, $8,500. This being a Guardians of the Galaxy character, I can understand why he might have brought more money than the more classic Marvel characters, even though Guardians of the Galaxy is supposedly a classic Marvel franchise. It isn't really. It was like, I don't know, a few things in the 80s or whatever. I don't remember all the details of it, but nobody really knew about it until the movies came out. Have you noticed something? Every single card has still been a 2025 card. It's like the card world is almost entirely speculative, hoping that each new card will be a lottery ticket that goes up in value, except it never seems to happen. Really strange. Number 6, 2025 Topps Chrome Marvel Jeff the Landshark, 1 of 1. I have no idea who Jeff the Landshark is or why somebody would pay $9,000 for his card when the asking price was $15,000. No idea. But it appears to be a legitimate sale, so who am I to say? Number 5, Topps Chrome Marvel 2025 Psylocke 1 of 1 Superfractor, $10,000 asking price, sold for $9,000. Sold by Mr. Penguin. Mr. Penguin does only have 1 feedback, so could be possibly an illegitimate sale, but I kind of believe in it given all the other cards. Let's see what's next. Okay, 2025 Topps Magneto Superfractor Gambit's Deck playing card. Gambit is that X-Men character who throws cards at people. I don't remember what his real powers were. It's simply sold for $10,000. Notice something? We've almost completed the list. Still all 2025 cards. Here's a secret that I emailed to myself. Modern non-sports cards, as well as most modern sports cards, modern Pokemon cards, tend to peak in value the year they come out, and then they either directly start losing value or moving sideways in value, or at a bare minimum failing to beat the stock market. The number of exceptions are incredibly small. And you know what? The only thing that keeps Magic the Gathering cards from having the exact same fate is that there's a popular underlying game behind that, and changes in the game can bring massive swings in card prices. However, you can't safely hold on to Magic cards either, because Wizards of the Coast, the company behind them, is dedicated to sucking all the value out of the secondary market. What they do is they create these packs called a Secret Lair, where you'll get 5 reprints of expensive cards at quite a lot of money from what 5 cards should cost, but it's a bargain compared to what their secondary market value was. And what that does is it sucks all the value out of the secondary market, and thus every card involved in the Secret Lair ends up going to almost 0 price. And they release these things on almost a weekly basis now. That's why I have gotten almost all of my money out of Magic cards. Let's keep moving along. Number 3, Very Lucky Black Cat Topps Chrome V-Friends, 1 of 1. 16 sold at auction for $16,700. Yes, people bid this up to $16,700. It doesn't even look impressive. I mean, don't do this. You could buy a brand new top-of-the-line pinball machine with all the optional upgrades, because pinball machines have upgrades available now. Every upgrade. Brand new, in a crate, delivered to your house for the same price as this card. Now, the pinball machine may or may not hold the value, but at least it'll be fun to play. This card's not going to hold the value. This card, you'll be lucky later on to trade this card for a broken down 1967 pinball machine, the old kind with the ding 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 score reels that take a lot of maintenance to keep going. They take a lot of maintenance to keep going. That's why they're so cheap. All right, let's move along. Number 2, 2025 Topps Marvel Mint Encased Dr. Doom 1 of 1 San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. Encased means they already stuck it in a little case. Sold for $18,500 of its $30,000 asking price. But like many of these Comic-Con 1 of 1s, there are more of them that are just different. They just stuck a different pic, made many different pictures of Dr. Doom, stuck them on cards, put them as 1 of 1, and, claim they're all special. This was just the most expensive one. I dropped multiple other versions of this card off of this list. Number 1, Topps Chrome V Friends Gary V. Superfractor Auto 1 of 1. Somebody paid $55,000 for this piece of cardboard. Is there any way on earth this can be seen as anything other than a speculative investment? What do you really have here? You have a 1 of 1 trading card of a D-tier celebrity at best. Sorry if you're watching this, Gary V. You are a D-tier celebrity at best, which, hey, good for you, buddy. I am an FFF minus. So I would love to be a D-tier, and I'm not. That's okay. But why would this be worth $55,000? Who would want this? Why not just spend $55,000 on a late model used Corvette? It's also collectible. It's also eventually going to lose 90% of its value, but at least you can enjoy it on the way down. People will be impressed by it. Nobody's going to care about this card. I mean, Gary V might buy it back from you when it's worth $50, which will happen eventually, probably. All right, hey. Thanks for sticking through this list. If you're new, I've got many other videos on both the values of things, on how to sell things on eBay, and other topics as well. Thanks, and I hope to see you again soon.
Forgive me, I don't know his actual name, but his YouTube name is onefootflipper.